Dolores Cannon had previously conducted 2 sessions with Janice, exploring her unique experiences and their connection to UFO activity and interdimensional phenomena. Now, after more than a year since their last session, Dolores was back in Little Rock, ready to dive deeper into Janice's story. Given the extraordinary events that had come up in previous sessions, Dolores was prepared for a journey filled with unexpected twists and turns. She hoped to gain further insights into Janice's complex encounters and the enigmatic symbols that had been flooding her mind. This final session between Dolores Cannon and Janice revealed intriguing information that would challenge even the most seasoned explorer of the unknown. Dolores knew from the outset that this session would be different. Even the timing had to be precise, with Janice indicating that they couldn't begin until exactly 11:16. The reason, as explained during the session, was tied to the unique coordination of different kinds of time, where interdimensional junctures had to align perfectly with mankind's measured time. During the session, Janice described traveling as a particle of light among the stars, experiencing a profound sense of peace. She talked about a crossroads or junction where information could be gathered, and explained that such moments were critical for maintaining connections across dimensions. As the session progressed, Janice's descriptions became more complex, touching upon the source of creation, the division of energy, and the overlapping of time and space. J. At 11:16, we can continue. Exactly. D. Okay, according to my watch, it's about another minute anyway. I just hope my watch is correct. J. 11:16, please. We will know. The information will not be able to culminate if it isn't. D. Do you know where you want to go? Or would you like me to direct you? J. We will go to a juncture in time. Time has junctures, you know. D. Yes, you've told me that. Why do you want to go to a juncture in time? J. Because that will be the beginning of an experience. It will deal with many things, because it's a multifaceted juncture. D. Well, we're at the time that you spoke of earlier, 11:16. J. I'm at a moment, you're at a minute. D. What do you mean? J. We're talking about the coordination of several different kinds of time. You see, when you speak of mankind's time, you're talking in minutes and hours. But in other realms, time is not measured like that. To bring information through dimensional time, you must be at a particular point in mankind's time. Otherwise, the information won't be complete. D. But that's often hard to know. When we have sessions, we just do them when we can. J. Yes, but if you find a subject who is working within interdimensional time, they will know it's important. Everything must be done not a minute or a second too early or too late, for it can be missed. D. Like a doorway or a gateway? J. Yes. D. How are you traveling? J. I'm traveling as a beam, as a particle. I am a particle of light, very small, tiny. D. Where are you traveling? J. A big breath, among the stars. D. What do you see out there? J. Oh, it's wonderful. It's just total suspended peace, quiet. It's like touching velvet. D. Can you see where you're headed? J. No, but I know where I'm going. I don't need to see it. I know I'll feel when I'm there. D. I was wondering if it looked like anything? J. No, because I'm not looking in the physical. I'm looking in a sea field. You see a pattern, and you know it's a place. If you go to the pattern, you are at the place, and the place becomes you. You don't need to see it because you're being it. D. But what if you want to see it in the physical? J. Then you ask, and you can look in the physical. Otherwise, you experience it in a totally different manner. There's a color, a rose quartz color, and then you know you're getting closer to it and closer and closer. You're moving very fast, but mentally you feel at a different speed than the physical particle traveling. D. You mean it became invisible? J. Yeah, it's right there, just swoosh. D. What? J. It was a cross. It was okay, a junction. D. Like a crossroads? J. Yes, just like on a map when you come to that point. D. What happens when you come to that point? J. You stop. D. Why do you stop? J. For different reasons. It depends on where you want to live. D. What do you mean? J. At that point, you can gather information, or you can go into a different dimension and be in a totally different lifetime. D. Do you want to gather information? J. Yes, because it's a gateway to where we're going to find our information. If your time is out of joint with this time, the connection can't be made. D. If you pass through them, will you be going to a place where there's information? J. I can go to the ancients. I can go to wherever you wish to go, or I can go to the God source. The session then shifted to deeper concepts about creation, source energy, and the fluidity of time. Janice explained that everything begins as a particle of light, and that these particles connect to form source energy, which eventually becomes matter. Dolores listened intently as Janice elaborated on how these source particles divide and move through different dimensions, influencing everything from lifetimes to universal patterns. D. How does it feel being at this junction? J. It's an infusion of information. There's also a teacher here who wishes to speak to you and to Janice, to tell you that you have passed time and space. The voice changes. First, you must understand some basic principles and foundations with regard to source energy. D. I'm always willing to learn. J. The particle you discovered was actually a source particle. Everything begins with a particle of light. Within that source of all that is, interconnections between particles form source energy. As energy becomes matter, from that source energy it travels down the beam or out the beam, depending on your concept or how you wish to relate to it. D. What happens as the energy travels down the beam? J. As it implodes, explodes out, it divides like a cell divides, forming different individuals. It can divide many times, or just once, or millions of times. As it divides, it becomes either male, female, male-male, female-female, male-female. As it travels through dimensional shifts, it becomes what it is ultimately at its source. D. Does it mean human beings are part of this source energy? J. Yes. When you bring the particle down to Earth terms, you have human beings who are essentially subdivided particles. Strangers who instantaneously become total friends because they subdivided at the source level. D. Does this happen for a specific purpose? J. Rarely do these particles fuse unless there's a higher purpose. It depends on planetary purposes, and it all leads back to the ultimate source. D. So it's like everything comes from the same source, but can split into different things along the way. J. Yes, I'm speaking of beyond time and space and beyond creation. Everything is interconnected, and you have to understand time. That's your job, because that's what you're dealing with in your books. You're dealing with interdimensional time. D. And also with very complicated concepts. J. Your job is to simplify complicated concepts so that everyone can understand them. People need to learn to live lifetimes at the same time, understanding that everything they do here in the physical affects other lifetimes. Their energy flows through it all. D. It feels like I'm being led to lost knowledge, lost information. J. It is lost. D. I feel like I have to get it back. J. That's my point. When you were led to the Nostradamus prophecies, it was only the beginning. You've only touched the surface. When you talk to him, his reality is where he is. It's all a matter of shifts, time and dimensional shifts. The conversation also explored Janice's encounters with energy patterns and symbols, which seemed to carry encoded information. These symbols, Janice said, had the potential to unlock ancient knowledge, offering insights into other dimensions and even beyond creation itself. Dolores was tasked with simplifying these complex concepts for a wider audience, a role she took seriously. D. You mentioned that you spoke at 11:16 because it's connected to something. Can you tell me more? J. I think perhaps I must tell you on paper. Dolores hands Janice a notebook and marker, and Janice begins to draw. D. What are these lines you are drawing? J. Time, periods, different years, but it's more than that. These can represent universes, galaxies, depending on how far out you go. You can go out into these time periods, reaching infinity. D. What's the fluid part? J. It's the God source or the source of all energy. The spark is everything this fluid part is. It could be your concept of God, or the ultimate source, or whatever you choose to call it. D. Would it be correct to call that spark your soul? J. You might call it a soul, but in reality it's better to think of it as source energy. D. But we focus on this part of our life right now. Is that the idea? J. Yes, but when you go into other lives, you take with you part of what they were and what they are. It's no different. You just don't know about them because you're focused on this life and what you're doing now. D. I think it's time to end this session. I want to thank you, whoever you are, who has been guiding us. J. I am speaking from beyond time, beyond creation. D. Beyond creation? Past the beginning of creation? J. Yes, you're doing a wonderful job, Dolores. We're always around you and guiding you in the right directions. As the session came to a close, Janice's guide urged Dolores to remain aware of her important role in translating and disseminating this knowledge. The guide stressed that Dolores's work on UFOs was now more important than her previous work with Nostradamus, emphasizing that the information she uncovered could have significant energy effects across time and space. Dolores brought Janice back to full consciousness, noting that Janice had no memory of what had transpired during the session. It was clear that Janice's experiences and the information from these sessions would have a lasting impact on Dolores's work. As they parted ways, Dolores reflected on the invaluable insights Janice had provided and how they had forever changed her understanding of the universe and her approach to uncovering hidden knowledge. This is the final session between Dolores and Janice discussing aliens and extraterrestrials. In the next chapter of the book, we'll explore various earthly locations and the mysteries linked to alien encounters. We'll be delving into these stories in our next video. Until then, stay tuned.